It has been, I think, about 9 months since I've changed the strings on this guitar. So that means that it has been through several seasonal changes. It was left out in the cold and the rain for several weeks. That's not true, but my point is, it has been exposed to the elements of time, and it is most likely not only time for me to change the strings, but probably do a full setup as well, which means I need to make sure that the strings are the right height, that everything's working properly and in tune, and what a great opportunity for me to show you how to set up your guitar as well. I'm gonna do it on my steel string acoustic guitar, and then also I'm gonna talk through how to do it on the electric stringed electric guitar. The strings aren't actually made of electricity. I'm in a weird tuning. Guess what song I was playing with this tuning? Do you have a guess? I was playing this song. That was my version of Out Getting Ribs by King Cruel. Hi, this is Stuart from the future. I'm in a bad mood because everything went terribly in this video, but I just wanted to give you a heads up that the plan here is I'm gonna show you how to do things with the proper tools, then I'm also gonna try to show you how to do it without the proper tools, but it's not gonna go well. I'm just warning you. Step one, this is one of those steps everyone's gonna skip because it seems like a waste of time, and usually it is, but guys, you gotta inspect your guitar for catastrophic damages that will make everything go to heck in a handbasket if you don't know about them. I'm gonna show you, there are 3 things to look out for, guys. 1, you wanna make sure there are no cracks in the neck of your guitar. I would check right here, right where the headstock meets the neck, see if there's any cracks here or here, and then just check all along the neck, over here, look for cracks. If there's a big crack there, then that means when you restring the guitar, literally the whole neck might just break off the guitar, and that would be bad news. Okay, another catastrophic thing you want to check for is you want to check to see if the heel of the guitar, this here, is coming detached from the body. So look right here and see if there's any gap in there. On electric guitar, this one's not a bolt-on, so it's probably not going to be an issue, but if you have a Stratocaster, a Fender guitar, check right here and make sure there's no gap there. On electric, you can just tighten the bolts if there's a gap there. On acoustic, if you notice a crack in the neck or a gap right here, that's something you most likely are gonna wanna take the guitar to a professional to have them look at it. But there's no rule that you can't try to fix it yourself. Just be warned, you might make things way worse. But if you have a cheap guitar, like a $100 guitar, guys, this is okay. If that were me, if I had a $100 guitar and I noticed there was a pretty major issue, I would just look up a tutorial online and try to fix it myself. Because buying the glue and the clamps is gonna be a few dollars. If you take it to a professional to repair it, they're gonna charge a bit because it takes some time. The only thing is, any repair that you try to do on your own, be fully prepared to accidentally destroy the instrument. But if it's a $100 guitar, I say just give it a shot. Worst case, you have to buy a new $100 guitar, and there's a good chance the repair is gonna cost close to that much anyway. One more catastrophic thing that might go wrong is the bridge might be coming off of the guitar, so you wanna look for a gap right here. If you can't quite tell if there's a gap, take a piece of paper and try to stick it under the bridge. If it goes under just a millimeter and then it stops, you're probably okay. But if the paper just slides underneath the bridge and you can move it around, that means that the bridge is not glued down very well, and that's another one of those catastrophic repair situations. Fantastic. We have inspected the guitar. Time for us to take the old strings off. Guys, I really love this string winder because it has a clipper built in. This is the Diodario Pro Winder. If you don't have a Pro Winder, you're gonna wanna get a string clipper of some kind. Don't use scissors. The strings are just going to absolutely destroy your scissors and it won't work very well. If you really don't have a clipper, then what you can do is you can just unwind every string, but it's such a pain in the Forrest Gump impression, buttocks. What I do, whatever. Guys, do I really need to tell you how to take strings off? I loosen them all a little bit first so nothing flies off and hits my eye. And then you just clip the strings. We're doing it. We're clipping strings. Oh, goodness gracious. All right. Guys, this is so much fun. Having such a good time clipping strings with you. Fully remove the old strings. I'm gonna do that right now. If you have a steel string acoustic and you haven't changed the strings before, you might be like, what am I supposed to do over here? They've got these little, they call them bridge pins that are just these little, they're not like locked in. It's just like friction holds these in. Usually, if you can use your fingers to just wiggle it back and forth and pull them out. Most string winders have what's called like a pin puller. Mine broke. I like this winder a lot, but my pin puller broke. But I never really used it very much anyway. With that, you're supposed to just like grab hold of it and pull it straight out. You also, if you can't use your fingers and you don't have a pin puller, you can use a pliers. Just be very careful because you can accidentally crush your bridge pins and you also can scratch up your bridge really easily. What I do, if I use pliers, is I firmly but gently, is that a thing? Grab on. I have my hand here and then I push the pliers against my hand, boom, and pull it out like that. My hand is there so I don't scratch up the guitar. And I'm just gonna do that for every single one of the bridge pins, you guys. So much fun. I have successfully removed all of the strings. I forgot to tell you that we have officially moved on to step 2. Step 1 was inspecting the guitar for catastrophic injuries. Step 2 is restringing and cleaning up the guitar. So we've taken the old strings off. Now we're gonna clean it up. This part is not mandatory, but it's basically, this is just the perfect time to clean up your guitar. These are what I use. This is like the Dunlop 65 cleaner and polish. It's just like the totally standard thing. And then I also use this 65 lemon oil for the fingerboard. I just like them. I have this microfiber plush cloth that I use for the body of the guitar. And then I have a piece of an old t-shirt that I use to clean the fingerboard. So here's really quick, here's what I do. I take the lemon oil, any sort of fingerboard treatment you want, I just give a quick little scrub on each fret and on the fingerboard itself. It's very exciting. Right now I'm just doing the tiniest little bit. The truth is, when I do this on my own, I kind of like, I put a lot on there because I think it smells good and I think it's fun. And then I scrub each and every fret. This part for me is so satisfying. I love it, so I'm not even joking. I'll spend like 20 minutes doing this. I think it's probably bad for my fingerboard to do it that much, but it's fun. I feel like I'm squishing life into my guitar when I do it. And it just gets so clean and it smells like lemons. I wish I could do it all day, but guys, we gotta move on. Oh, you can also do it to the bridge, by the way. If your fingerboard is dark, then you can use lemon oil on it. If your fingerboard is light, like tan wood color, then you probably just want to use the polish on it. I'm sorry, if you don't have a dark fingerboard, you don't get to use the lemon oil. Great, now the polish, you're supposed to spray this polish onto the rag and then go onto your guitar. I don't do it, I just spray it on the guitar. I think it's fun. And also I think the polish smells good. I don't know, guys. I like weird chemicals. Call me what do you call someone who likes weird chemicals? Not a drug addict. Polish in a circular motion. I think it actually makes a difference. That's one of those things that they always tell you to do. And I think it's a good idea. So we're just like, you could do the whole entire guitar, the back of the neck, the back, you could do all of it. Most of it though, you can get to even when the strings are on the guitar. I just like to focus on this area because that's where you can't really get to unless the strings are off the guitar. There, we're all cleaned up, we're all polished off. Is that dirty? Another totally optional thing you can do when the strings are off is you can clean the actual frets themselves with one of these and some sort of a scrubbing thing. So I don't know what you call this. It's just a piece of metal with a slot in it, and then this side is padded. So you put the padded side against the guitar, and then it exposes the fret. And then, right, what I have here is some steel wool, but guys, warning, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this and we're gonna scrub the fret and wash whatever filth is on the fret off of there. But I have to tell you a couple things. One, you can use steel wool or like a nylon pad you would use for like scrubbing dishes. Either of those works. I will say that if you use steel wool, use stainless steel, because otherwise little pieces of it can get stuck under the frets and rust, and it's a whole thing. Another thing about the steel wool is that little fibers will come off, and those little fibers can go into the pickups of your electric guitar and mess stuff up. I've never actually had that happen, but someone told me it could happen, and I believed them. Both the steel wool and the little nylon scrubber, they will scratch up the fret. Like, what we're doing is we're taking it and we're scratching the fret. So it can make little like uneven scuffy marks on there, in which case you'd want to use an actual polishing thing later. I've never really had this be an issue. If I use this thing and I use a little piece of steel wool, I just rip off a tiny little part and I go like this. If my frets are all gross, and then when I'm done, I feel like my frets look very pretty and I'm very proud of myself. If you don't have one of these, and I think these have got to be cheap, so you could probably get it for a couple bucks, but you can use some low tack tape. It's sort of like painter's tape. In fact, I think this is painter's tape, but it's just tape, like paper tape that's not that sticky, so it doesn't leave a residue. And what you can do is just put it right next to the fret on either side. I did a bad job ripping the tape off. But guys, I'm in a very big hurry here. You can go like this, and then that helps protect it. You can actually use some of this like low tack tape. You can use for anything you're doing where you're worried you're gonna scratch up the guitar. You can just put some of the low tack tape on there as your stabbing thing, whatever, I don't know. And it helps reduce the chances of scratching your guitar. Low tack tape, not a sponsor. That's not a brand also, it's just tape that's not very tacky. I have a corner in my room that I just throw trash into, and then each week I go and pick up the trash. Gross. Don't admit that to the world. Get a trash can. You're an adult. Final thing you want to do while your strings are removed is tighten up your tuners, guys. You might have little nuts here that you can tighten up with the pliers very carefully, or you might have one of these things, a little like nut driver thing, and you can put it on there and use that to tighten them. You also might have screws on the back here you can tighten up. It's just a good time to tighten stuff up. Time to put the new strings on. Guys, I am not gonna give you like a full walkthrough of putting strings on a guitar. I think I'll probably make a whole other video for that at some point. I just wanna give you my favorite tip really quick. This is for electric or acoustic guitar. Here's what it is, you ready? This is the best one, this is the best tip ever. So, you've got the string attached over here at the bridge, and then you want it coming through the little tuning peg thing over here. Here's what you do. You pull the string tight. Pull it tight. Pull it all the way to the next tuner, okay? And then grab it there. So it's pulled tight all the way through. I'm grabbing it right there. It's like, what is that? Like about 1.5 inches away from the tuner it's going through. And then I just feed this back through. So now I have all this. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crimp the string there. I'm like bending it. See what I'm doing there? So now there's like this little bendy part, and now it's kind of stuck there. Then if I I'm going the wrong way. That's the problem. Guys, come on. So then I tighten it up. I'm using my Pro Winder, also not a sponsor, but I really would like Pro Winder to sponsor me, or Diodario, I guess. But Diodario, your other products are great, but the Pro Winder is really my favorite. I used to use my fingers to do this all the time until I got this Pro Winder, and it makes me so much happier. So what just happened is because I pulled it through up to here and then fed it back in and then wound that apart up, can you see? You can't really see it, but I have 2 wraps around. If I do that same pull through method on each thing, I said pull through method. Guys, get your mind out of the gutter. The pull-through method for stringing a guitar. If I do that for each one, each string will have approximately 2 wraps around, and it will look good to me. No one else will be able to see it. I don't know why I'm so excited about that pull-through thing. While I finish putting the new strings on my guitar here, I have one more little string changing tip for you, which is once you have the new strings on the guitar, I recommend not tuning one string all the way up to the correct pitch and then moving on to the next string. Instead, tune each string up partway, Then tune each string up a little bit more, and then start getting each string tuned to the correct pitch. What happens if you try to just put one string on and immediately tune that one up to the correct pitch? All of the tension goes into that one string, and there's a pretty real possibility that that string could break under all of that incredible stress. Guys, if you don't have a string winder and you're using your fingers to manually turn each tuner, please try to keep your wrist straight. Don't go like this. It's gonna be bad news. You're gonna get carpal tunnel or whatever. I'm not a doctor, but it would sadden me to my deepest of cores if you guys injured your wrists restringing your guitar. Okay, once you get it tuned up to the right pitch, I'm not there yet. It's gonna take me forever. But let's pretend I'm tuned to the. Do you see that? One of my things just shot out across the room. Of course you didn't see it, but now I have to go find it. I've actually had it happen where some of these bridge pins really don't want to stay in and they just keep popping out as I tune up the string. What I do in that situation is I jam them in there, and then using this part of my hand, I just hold them there while I'm tuning up. And then once you get the strings tuned to pitch, usually the strings and the bridge pins in the bridge work out their differences amongst each other, and you can finally get everything to just settle into place. And see, now they're all firmly in there. Guys, once you've got everything tuned up to pitch, you do need a tuner. Here's my tuner. You're gonna want an electric tuner, come on. I mean, if you really want to tune to piano or whatever, that's fine, but I think that's stupid and you're a fool. I didn't mean it, but I kind of meant it. So I have my electric tuner here. I'm just getting tuned up. I'm sick of this. Let's pretend that I'm in tune. Now we've got all this nonsense. So look, obviously if you have a clipper, this is obvious, I know, but if you have a clipper, you just go right there and you clip it off. Great, fantastic. If you don't have a clipper, what you can do is you can just wiggle it back and forth and then it breaks off. I don't recommend that. I might be making this up, but I feel like it's giving that string the opportunity to slip out of its hole and everything will come loose. So I really recommend just get the Pro Winder, guys. It's, like I said, not a sponsor. It's just such a good tool. I love it with all my heart. Okay, new strings are on the guitar. It's finally time to actually do some legit guitar setup stuff, starting with the neck relief adjustment. So I'm not sure if you are aware of this, but there is a metal rod going through the neck of your guitar called the truss rod. Not the trust rod, but the truss rod. What that does is it helps keep the neck of your guitar pretty straight. The strings are pulling on the neck, trying to move it that way, and the truss rod helps keep it this way, and you can adjust it depending on how much the neck of your guitar is bending. Here is how you check to see if your truss rod needs adjusting. The fancy pants way, don't worry, if you don't have a capo, it's gonna be fine, but if you have a capo, put a capo on the first fret. You're gonna push down on the last fret of your guitar. Some people say on like the 15th fret. I don't think it really matters. I just do the last fret of the guitar. And then, if you are a fancy pants, you might have some of these feeler gauges. Guys, feeler gauges are just these tiny little thin pieces of metal. And for most guitars, you want like, look, here's the deal. Some people say 0.001, some people say 0.01. And what you do is you have the capo on one, you push on the last fret, and then you go to the 9th fret and you see if you can slide that feeler gauge underneath the string without making the string move. Now, there's two issues I have with this. One, you might not have feeler gauges. They're not expensive. You can get them at like any hardware store. But what if you just don't have them and you don't want to get them? So there's one thing. The other thing is, guys, sometimes with feeler gauges, it's really hard, for me, it's really hard to tell. Wait, is that making the string move or not? Is it just sliding underneath, or is it hitting the string, or the reflection? It's confusing. We're gonna forget about the capo. This is like the bare bones, no tools way of checking the truss rod adjustment. Just push on the first fret of your guitar, then push on the last fret of your guitar. And then look at the 9th fret. And you wanna look in between the top of the fret, so the actual top of the little metal part, and the bottom of the string. And you wanna see if there's any gap in between the fret and the string. So like the string is right here, the fret is right here. Is there a gap there, or is the string pushing against the fret? If the string is pushing against the fret, then that means that you need to add relief to the neck. That means the neck of your guitar is too far this way and you need to loosen the truss rod. If there's a big gap, that means your neck is too far this way and you need to tighten the truss rod. Here's what we would like. We would like just the tiniest sliver of space, just like a paper's distance, probably even less than a paper's distance between the 9th fret and the bottom of the string. Here's another little trick. If you take like your pinky and push on the last fret and your pointer finger and push on the 1st fret, and then with your thumb, just tap the string on the 9th fret, you want it to look like there's basically no space, but if you tap that 9th fret, if you can hear that little sound, then that means there is just the tiniest little sliver of space. So great. Now you know if there's no space, truss rod is too tight. If there's too much space, truss rod is too loose. How do you adjust it? Great question. Depends on your guitar. My guitar has a little hole. Do you see that hole right there? That hole right there, at the other end of that hole is a little like screw thing. Now, if you have a Martin guitar, you're gonna need one of these because there's like a big gap before you actually get to the screw thing. And so this just goes all the way in until you get it locked in there. And then it's good old fashioned righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you have too much space between the string and the fret, you wanna tighten your truss rod, just tighten it, do like a little bit. Tighten it like a quarter of a turn. So you just go like, and that's it. If there is no space between the fret and the string, then you want to loosen it. Again, go about a quarter of a turn. I should also mention the pros say that you should loosen all the strings before you adjust the truss rod. I don't do that. I just leave the strings normal and then I don't worry about it and it's always been fine. Okay, so if you have an acoustic guitar like mine, especially if it's a Martin, there's that hole there, and I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to get one of these. That's just the way it goes. If you have a non-Martin acoustic guitar, then there could still be the adjustment right there, but it might not be a deep hole. You might be able to see the screw thing right there, so you won't need that super long wrench. You could just get one of these little teeny Allen wrenches. Different guitars use different size Allen wrenches, so you probably just want to look online and go like, I have a Yamaha X27B. What size Allen wrench? And then they should tell you. If they don't, then they're mean. And then you do just need to go buy an Allen wrench. I don't really have a good substitute tool if you don't have an Allen wrench, but guys, how much can these be? It's gotta be like 25 cents, right? And then, so if you can access it from here, fantastic. You can just make those same little righty-tighty, lefty-loosey adjustments. Okay, but what if it doesn't have the adjustment right there? Sometimes guitars have them right here. You might just be able to see the little adjuster thing. It might have a plastic plate protecting the adjuster like this one. So see how this has this plastic plate here? You can just unscrew that, take it off. I'm not gonna do it because it's a pain. And then you can see there's just a little spot for you to put your little Allen wrench. Fantastic. If you have a Gibson guitar or a Gibson style guitar, it might, instead of having this sort of thing, it might need like a nut dry, like a different kind of wrench. It's just the way it goes. Different kinds of guitars require different wrenches. All of the wrenches are pretty cheap. You're just gonna have to get one. That's the way it goes. If you have like a vintage style Fender guitar, then I have unfortunate news for you. If it doesn't have the adjustment thing here and it doesn't have, well, it's obviously not gonna have the hole right there. They actually put the adjustment on the neck over here, but it's covered up by the body of the guitar. So you have to like unscrew the bolts here, take the neck off, and then adjust it. It's awful and it's terrible. And I hope and pray for you that your guitar is not like that because it's a pain. You might have one of these Allen wrench things where it's like multiple Allen wrenches all in one device. I'm sorry to say that I recommend not using this for adjusting the relief on the neck of your guitar because it's so hard to like, just the shape of it. It's really hard to get it in there without scratching everything up. Like, you can do it, but just be prepared to damage your guitar. It'll be fine, I don't care. So one more important thing I was gonna say, but I don't remember. Oh, I was just gonna review. So again, First fret, last fret. Look at the 9th fret. If there's too much space, tighten the truss rod. If there's no space, loosen the truss rod. We just want that paper, barely even a paper thin little space between the string and the fret. Probably less than a piece of paper. Make tiny adjustments. Don't make big old cranking adjustments. Just make a tiny adjustment, then check it again. Then make a tiny adjustment, check it again. Check twice, cut twice. The expression didn't work in this situation. Cut once, practice twice. Gosh darn it. Okay. Moving on. That's how you do the neck relief. Fantastic, amazing. Then we're gonna look at the nut slots over here. So each string is sitting in a little teeny slot on the nut, right? We might have to adjust. Oh, but by the way, don't worry. On my guitar, the relief is perfect. I look at it. There's just the tiniest little sliver of space. It's fantastic. I'd show you, but you'd be jealous. So for the nut, we might have to make little filing adjustments to the nut. Here's the trick. You can use the feeler gauge and check to see how much space is in between the 1st fret and the bottom of the string, but don't worry about that. Here's the trick, guys. On the top string, push on the 3rd fret and then tap right by the 1st fret. We want just the tiniest little bit of movement. I want it to look like the string is touching the fret right at the 1st fret. But if I push right there, listen. Do you hear that? That's the sound of the string just touching the 1st fret. So once again, push on the 3rd fret, and then with your other hand, push right on the 1st fret. There should be just, in this case, we don't even want a paper thin little gap between the fret and the string. We want like, just like barely anything. Check that for each string. Listen. Do you hear it? Let's try the next one. Do you hear that quiet little beep, 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 beep? Tiny little one. Oh yeah. I can't hear it with that one, but I can see it move the little tiniest bit. Let's say, so mine's set up perfectly. This is unfortunate because I wanted to show you how to adjust it, but that's fine. If you push on the 3rd fret and then push on the 1st fret and there's like no gap, like the string is just pushing right against the 1st fret, that kind of sucks for you, and we're not gonna cover what you should do in this video. Like what you can do is fill in the gap on your nut and then refile a slot, and you can use like baking soda and super glue. You can use like dust from another nut and super glue. There's all these little tricks. A lot of them work well. We're not gonna get into that. I think you're gonna have to look up another tutorial. So if the nut slots are too deep and your string is hitting the 1st fret, I wish you the best of luck. If you push on the 3rd fret and there's a big gap in between the bottom of the string and the fret right there, that means that you have to work way too hard when you're pushing over here because there's this big gap and the strings probably dig into your fingers, and that's probably been the source of all of your pain and misery for the past several years. So guys, here's what you want to do. You want to, let's pretend that the top string of my guitar, there was a big gap there. I'm just going to loosen the string a little bit and I'm going to pull it out of the little nut slot there. So now I have the nut slot totally exposed. This is where you are gonna need some tools of some kind of. So if you're super fancy pantsy, you can have actual nut files, which are just these tiny little files. I'm not gonna do it, remember, but you just get it right in there. And here's a little trick. You wanna angle, you wanna like put the file in the slot, and then you wanna angle it this way. How do I do this? Angle it this way, just a little bit, and then just very gently back and forth. You're just trying to make the little slot that the string sits in a little bit deeper so the string can settle into the slot a little bit lower, a little bit closer to the frets. I'm gonna say this and you're gonna kind of ignore it, but I really want you to take it seriously. When you're filing the nut slots, just do the tiniest little bit, then put the string back on, tune it up, and check it again, and then go the tiniest little bit, because what always happens is you go, oh man, I have so far to go, and you file, and then you put the string back on, and you go, oh, I still have so much more to go, and then you file and file and file and file, then you put the string back on, and it's too low, and you've destroyed everything. It's really easy to go down a little bit more. It's really a pain to go up, because that's when you have to get into the whole super glue thing. When you're filing a nut slot, just do the tiniest little bit and then check. Tiniest little bit and then check. These are fancy pantsy StewMac files. They're like the best in the land, but they're kind of expensive. You can get cheaper nut files and that's great. You also can get like little like hobby files. So these are just like little, just an assortment of, what am I looking for? Of little files. Here we go. If you have the little file that has, it's like a little triangle, you can't see it at all. If you use one of the little sharp ends of the triangle, that can work to cut the nut slots. It doesn't get the exact shape that you want, but it works fine. I think that like the good StewMac files, I think they're like $20 a piece or something. These hobby files, you can get a set of like 6 files. I think probably less than $20 for the whole set. It's a good thing. Either of those are definitely a good investment. But I know what you're thinking, Uncle Stuart, great, but I'm doing this right now and I do not have any of these tools. Okay, there's one more thing you can do, but it doesn't work very well. You know the old strings that you just pulled off your guitar? You can use those strings as a file. You just hold the string tight. It's got the little ridges in it and you just go crank, 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 crank. When you get down to the skinnier strings, obviously those skinnier strings don't have the little ridges in it, so those won't really work as files. So what you'll have to do is just use the G string for those bottom two, and it's just gonna make the slot too big, but you're just gonna have to live with that because you're the one who doesn't have proper files. One more thing you can do, I've actually never done this, but I've heard it works great, is you can use a piece of sandpaper. Like you take a piece of sandpaper and like fold it in half and use that as a file. Like I said, I haven't done it, so I'm not gonna vouch for it. Guys, there, we've gotten the nut. Hopefully, just guys, make tiny little adjustments to the nut. This is like the biggest pain part of it. I really hope that you don't have to make any big adjustments over there. Time now to adjust the action at the bridge. The action is just how high the strings are off of the guitar. We kind of like when we adjusted the truss rod, we were checking out the action as it relates to the neck bending. And then over here, we checked the action from the nut to see how much that was pulling the strings up away from the guitar. But usually when people talk about the overall action of the guitar, they're talking about how much the bridge and the saddles on the bridge lift the strings up. So on acoustic guitar, we have this one strip here, which is called the saddle, that lifts the strings up. On electric guitar, we have all these tiny little, like 6 tiny little saddles holding the strings up off the guitar. The way you adjust them is different, but the way we measure them on acoustic and electric is the same. So we are gonna need to measure here how the action is on the guitar. So let's start with a steel string acoustic guitar. You wanna look at the 12th fret. Now, up until now, I've told you we just want the tiniest little paper thin little slice of space between the fret and the string. But here, it's gonna be quite a bit more space, so we're not gonna be able to just eyeball it. We're gonna have to actually use something to measure. Let me show you my favorite, and then I'll show you my second favorite, and then I'll show you some alternatives for if you don't have any tools. My favorite is one of these. These are these little like credit card shaped things that really are little rulers, and they have all these little different ways of measuring. Like see here, I just take that and I hold it up to the string and it tells me, here, look, I'll show you. I'll give you a better view because this is pretty great. So I go to the 12th fret and I hold this up like this, and then I look to see what line it lines up with down here at the bottom, and it tells me the measurement. It's fantastic, amazing, so useful. This is a really nice thick one from StewMac. It's probably kind of expensive. This is a really cheap one from Amazon that's the same thing. It's just really kind of flimsy. It's a little bent, but it works great. I think these are like really cheap. I think just a couple bucks. Also, you can go check in your garage. You might already have one of these. This is just a little like metal tiny ruler thing. So those all work great. My favorite are these. Second favorite is this. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Uncle Stuart, I don't have any of that crap. I don't have any of that crap. Well, guess what you can use? You can use coins and picks to measure. So check this out. The distance between the top of the 12th fret and the bottom of the string on the top string on a steel string acoustic guitar is, let's see, we would like that to be where'd it go? 0.09 inches. So guys, you could use your little device and look for 0.09 and hold it up and go, perfect. Or get a load of this. This is not gonna be perfect, but what did I write? If you have 2 dimes, look what I have right here, 2 dimes, and then you just see if you can squeeze the 2 dimes together, and those should fit right in between the 12th fret and the bottom of the string. On my guitar, I can see that it actually moves the string a little bit. I think the 2 dimes might be a little bit too thick. Coins are slightly different sizes. It's just a little screwy. So if you don't have the actual measuring thing, it's gonna be a little bit screwy. But I would say you would like the gap between the 12th fret and the bottom of the top string to be right around 2 dimes, maybe probably a little bit less than 2 dimes thickness. And then the bottom string, you want that to be just about a nickel's thickness or maybe a little bit less. And then for the 4 strings in between, you just want it to gradually go down, basically, kind of, sort of. 2 dimes on top, nickel on the bottom. It's not a perfect way to measure, but it comes close. The other thing you can do is use guitar picks, guys. So like, you know, there's all kinds of different thickness of picks, but here's what I think works pretty well. If you have 3 just like Fender medium picks, and you stack those 3 Fender medium picks, 3 Fender medium picks, that should be just about right for the top string. There should be just about the space of 3 Fender mediums stacked on top of each other. I think you should get a little metal ruler thing. That's what I think you should do. But if you don't have it right now, this is what you can do. Great, fantastic. Guys, if you are doing electric guitar, instead of it being 0.09 on top and 0.07 on the bottom string, you want it to be 0.078 for the top string and 0.063 for the bottom one. So I think that's probably, yeah, it's just about 2 Fender mediums on top and then, I don't know, just a little less than that on the bottom. Fantastic. If you're doing bass, it should be 0.105 on top and 0.065 on bottom. If you're playing on a nylon string acoustic, it should be so high. What is it? 0.156 on top, 0.125 on bottom. I don't like doing on nylons. So anyway, okay. Those are the heights that we want at the 12th fret. If you're doing it on an electric guitar, and let's say whether it's too high or it's too low, you're gonna wanna raise or lower the saddles over here. You are going to, where did it go? Why do I have so many, I just threw my picks everywhere. Can I ask you a question? Where did you put my tiny little Allen wrench? Most electric guitars will come with this tiny little thing of Allen wrenches, and you wanna grab your teeny tiny little baby little one. If you have like a Fender or an Ibanez or most electric guitars have little adjustments here, and you use your tiny little Allen wrench and you just turn and raise and lower the saddles until you hit whatever height you want. So let's say that your top string, the action was too high. You have your 3 picks at the 12th fret there. Then over here, you just want to turn this and lower that saddle until the string comes down and touches your guitar picks like that. Or if it's too low, you just crank it up until it's up over the guitar picks. So that you're just gonna need one of these tiny little Allen wrenches. If your guitar doesn't have one, again, I think this is probably like 15 cents. You're gonna have to go to the hardware store, guys. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. But then look at my guitar here actually doesn't have that. What I have to do with mine is I have to turn these to raise and lower different halves of the bridge. In this case, I just use my pliers and very carefully, I grab on and I just give it a little turn and I just make the whole bridge go up or down so that the height is correct. Fantastic. Guys, On acoustic guitar, it's a different story. Here's what you have to do on acoustic guitar. You have to loosen the string. This is a pain. Here's my trick. You ready? Take a capo, put a capo on the first fret to keep all the strings somewhat in order. And then you're gonna loosen all the strings a lot. Like loosen them so they're like floppy. You have to take the bridge pins back out. Am I gonna do this? Gosh darn it, I should do it. All right, I'm loosening all the strings. I don't want to, but I'm doing it to show you. And my string winder's over there, and I have to get this done in the next like 7 minutes because I have to go on a walk. Otherwise, I'm gonna be cranky all day. Okay, that might be enough. Now I'm gonna pull the bridge pins back out. Ugh, I'm so strong. Look how strong I am. Oh, I couldn't get that one out. That's what she said. What does that mean? I couldn't get that one out? I don't want to do this, but I have to. Ugh. All right, so the reason we put the capo there is because now all our strings are all loosey-goosey all over the place, but the capo kind of keeps some sort of order of this. Then you're actually gonna pull out this saddle right here. You're gonna pull it out, keep track of which end goes up here and which end goes down there. Then what we want to do is we want to sand it, you guys. What I do is I take a piece of sandpaper and put it on a flat surface like this. And then you're going to just go try to keep it as straight as you can and sand it. So you have two options here. One, you can go sand, 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 put it back in, restring it, and check the action and see how it feels to see if you have to go down anymore. But that's a pain, right? Because then you're gonna have to retune the strings and do all that over again. So here's the other thing you can do, but this takes some practice. You figure out exactly how much you wanna lower the strings. So let's say you wanna lower the strings 0.01 inches, okay? Then you're gonna grab a Sharpie and you're gonna draw a line on the saddle here that's double that amount. So if you wanna lower it 0.01, you're gonna draw a line that's 0.02 on here, and you're gonna sand until you get to that line. Then you put it in and restring it and do all that stuff, and hopefully it should be right. So you get rid of double the material of how much you want to lower the strings. If you have an acoustic guitar and the action is already too low, you still want to take the saddle out and you want to put a little shim underneath the saddle. So you can buy shims that are made of the same material as your saddle. The truth is, if you have a really high-end guitar and you want it to sound perfect, then you want to get the actual shim that's what you need. Or you actually might want to just get a brand new saddle and start from scratch. If you're like, I don't really care that much, I just want my guitar to be comfortable to play, then you can kind of use any material. You can use like a little piece of plastic. You could use like maybe like a little piece of like a credit card could work. You could probably use a little piece of cardboard, but the cardboard is going to get squished, so it's going to change over time. I think like a little piece of plastic will probably work pretty well. You put it right underneath it, and then you get everything all restrung again, and that brings us to the final part of the whole thing, which is the intonation, you guys. Intonation is just a fancy word for plays in tune. Like if a guitar is intonated, that means it plays in tune with itself. So here's how you check intonation. I'm done with this. What you do is you grab your tuner and you check an open string and make sure it's in tune. So top string, it's a little flat. Let me tighten it up. There we go. E string is complete. Shut up. What is happening? There we go. E string is in tune. Amazing. I'm gonna play the 12th fret. Not the harmonic, just the regular note on the 12th fret, and we're gonna see if it's in tune. Let's see. Oh, it's a little bit flat. See, top string. Yeah, top string is in tune. 12th fret is the tiniest little bit flat. So that means I need to intonate that string. What we're trying to do is see if the open string is in tune with the actual fretted notes. So we check the open string and the 12th fret. If the 12th fret is flat, then what you want to do is you want to move the saddle forward. You want to move it that way. So the way this works, on pretty much all guitars, there's either a screw right here or a screw right here. And you're just gonna use a regular screwdriver and you're gonna tighten it or loosen it to move the saddle forward. If the 12th fret is flat, move the saddle that way. If the 12th fret is sharp, you want to do the opposite, turn it the opposite way so the saddle moves that way. Just go little by little, and then you check it. You check to make sure that the open string is in tune again, and then we check the 12th fret again. Okay, I somehow made things, I didn't even turn anything and I made it worse. This makes no sense. You have to do that for every single string. You want to adjust the saddle back and forth until the open string is in tune and the 12th fret is in tune at the same time. I'm so done. I'm supposed to talk about pickup height as well. Look, guys, if you have an electric guitar, you can adjust the pickup height just by turning these screws here. But every player and every company has different preferences on where they want the pickup height to be. So I just look up, like this is a Yamaha RevStar. Look up Yamaha RevStar pickup height, and it'll say you want the pickups to be this far from the string, and then you just do it, and it's fine, whatever. That's not even an explanation. Oh, I didn't talk about intonation on the acoustic guitar. On your acoustic guitar, if the open string is in tune, but the 12th fret is out of tune, you're just screwed. You're just screwed. Like, there are ways to adjust that, but they suck and I don't know how to do it and it's miserable and you should just throw out your guitar and get a new one. We're done here.